then you know what I'm talking about. All right, we done boomed in. Any Winans fans in the building?
Here we go. I am one.
Yeah, me too, Don. I wanna be ready. Oh, I'm everywhere. I wanna be ready. Yeah, get some, sir. Yeah. I wanna be ready to walk in Jerusalem, just like John. Oh, to walk in Jerusalem like John. And then Ronna came in, changed the key. I'm praying to be ready. Praying to be ready. Praying to be ready. To walk in Jerusalem just like John. Oh, to walk in Jerusalem like John. Anybody know that?
They don't know that, man. They're too young for that.
Ooh, to walk in Jerusalem.
Just like John. No.
I want no. To walk in Jerusalem like John. We're marching to Zion. Beautiful, beautiful Zion, we're marching upward to Zion, that beautiful city of God. Come we that love the Lord, let our joys be known. Join in a song of sweet accord. Join in a song of sweet accord. And thus surround the throne. And thus surround the throne. Oh, we're marching to Zion, oh Lord, beautiful, beautiful Zion. We're marching upward to Zion, that beautiful city of God. Oh Lord, that beautiful city of God. Oh, that beautiful city of God. Roads are paved with gold. Beautiful city of God. Hey, beautiful city. Oh, beautiful city of God. Yeah. Beautiful city of. Will you meet me there? Beautiful city of. Beautiful city, God. Lord.
You know that song? You don't know that song.
You'll learn it. Man, sorry about that. We just got a little caught up. No, sorry, not sorry.
Sorry, not sorry, man.
Sorry, not sorry.
Sometimes you just got a chorus.
Woo! Man, I don't know why that was just good for me right then.
Talking about them whinings, man.
Come on, sir.
A lot of stuff.
Come on. We got to have the fellas back.
Yes, sir, man.
Question is, will I ever leave you? The answer is no. Man, anybody know that?
How about the line that says, "Look at the trouble all in our land. Russia's already invaded Afghanistan."
Timeless.
Timeless. Like it's
Timeless.
happening
Right
now.
now, man.
40 years ago.
Man. Literally. And it's happening now.
Right now.
Look at the trouble in Iran. Russians already invaded Afghanistan. It's falling in place. And that's good writing, man.
Go, man.
Yeah. Hey, we see you booming in.
Boom, boom,
Sister
boom.
Ashley, Deaconess Ramona B, the Eldris. I made that up, ain't you? Ruth Williams.
Church mother.
Yes, sir. Clem the Jim Alexander.
What's up?
You booming in.
Booming on in.
Deaconess Pamela Ponton.
Booming on in.
Mm-hmm.
Booming on
How
in.
you, nephew?
Say I'm good.
You good? You gonna sing a song? Maybe. Okay. You can.
He's interested in jumping these days. He wants to jump.
That's his whole lot right there. Listen, I have a question for you on tonight.
Question is
love a choice? Pastor and I would just kind of asked them, and then I said, hold it. Wait until we get in the room. Is love a choice? Say your answer. Type it in. Phone a friend. Ask them, is love a choice?
Yep,
Ask your loved one.
We'll see what they say.
Yeah.
Before you hear what I say.
Is love a choice? Is it a choice, nephew? Yeah, because sometimes you choose to cry and sometimes you choose to smile at me. Like now, smiling, but turn your head. I don't know.
He tested.
Is love a choice? What say you?
What do the people say?
Ashley said yes and no. That's a twofold answer. We're not
right.
saying that she's lukewarm. She's just giving a yes and no. But we are going to provide an opportunity for her to, church folk could laugh at that.
They know what it means.
to provide, oh man, an answer for that. All right. Angela Dance, we see you dancing over there.
See you, Sister Angela. Elder Hawks.
Elder Jason Hawks.
For those
Erica
of you just
Lamel
tuning in,
said a yes.
The
question is, before you on tonight, is love a choice? Hey, is love a choice? Pamela Ponton said, I agree, yes and no. Now, unfortunately, we can't hear you in real time, and there's some small latency, but we are definitely going to wait to hear from you. Oh, let me take this off. Erica, is that your alma mater today? The School of Maury.
Maury.
Maury High School.
Wife went to Maury.
Oh, did she?
Yep.
I was at that school today, Maury, and I must say, I did a photo shoot of the football team.
Okay.
And we were talking about the spanking that they gave to Lake Taylor.
Yep. So my nephew plays for Lake Taylor. He's a freshman. And he was on the receiving end along with those of us in the stands.
Yeah, man.
So we don't got much love for Maury around here.
Man. So I know Erica went, I know Ashley went. Them boys, listen, this is what the challenge is, or some would say even the tragedy. I don't know if Erica, you knew this, or Ashley knew this. I learned of it today. But they are going to be losing 12 players at one time who are graduating.
Oh,
and so I want to this year right now. So I was curious. Early? Yeah, they're leaving some seniors, and some are moving. Like it's a conglomerate of things, but they're leaving, losing 12 players.
So are they going to finish
12 or 15? Yeah. They're finishing the season.
Oh, okay,
but at the end of the year.
Okay, I got you.
12. Did you say 12 or 15? Maybe
that sounds about right.
15.
They're so stacked this year.
15. And they're leaving. So now
season.
They're leaving. And my question was immediately, what does that look like for next year?
Mm-hmm.
Not even finishing this year. I was on all the way. Wow. You know what I mean?
Yep. They are so talented this year. And they won state a few years ago. and they have a really good shot to win it this year. Obviously we follow because nephew plays for Lake Taylor,
Mm-hmm.
and the funny thing is Lake Taylor isn't having like one of their best years, but they're super young. Like he's a freshman. They got about 4 or 5 freshmen that are starting.
It's gonna be crazy in a couple of years.
Right.
One more year, even
Yeah.
one more year.
Yeah, it's like, man,
Take
a
all
couple
these
years
bumps
from
and
now,
bruises.
Yep, you take your licks now.
Yep.
Yep.
And then you know how to fight.
Yep, exactly. Yep. Yeah. So.
And they're not running; they just taking the licks. Take a couple on,
Yep.
Yeah, I like that.
Yep.
I like that. Ruth said no, it's a command. Clem the Jim said yes, yes, and yes. Ramona B said yes and no. Now, for you two double-minded folk, it's just a church joke. For you double-minded folk, that's why I said folk. I would like an explanation.
That's right. You got to tell us.
You got to give us an exegesis of your full answer, and then eisegete each one. Please, ma'am. It's all the ladies are saying that.
It's yes and no. Because
of what? Is love a choice? Man, I'm gonna start looking for some scriptures for this. This is about to be kind of interesting. Listen, just the question.
It's
like asking you, does size matter?
Right.
Size of what?
Exactly.
The question is the question. You answer. I asked the guy that question. He says, yes, it does. My wife is this tall. Right. And she fits right here. I said,
there you go.
Nah. When I asked Moby,
and
he said, yeah, of a bank account, because my account is this.
Oh, there you go.
There
you go.
He said some people don't like big stuff, like big people. Yeah,
that's right.
People don't like me. That's what he said. But he's Moby, so you can read all that. It's Moby. I asked a girl who had never been married before, and she said her answer was of the ring, yes.
There you go. Put your qualifier
the
on.
Size matter. But it's yours to put on it, not mine.
Exactly.
The question is just what it is. Just like this. Is love a choice? What say you, Pastor? We got some people in there.
I am going to
Reese,
say,
Cherise, is love a choice? That is the question on tonight. And we're looking for some biblical context, but not necessarily. What is your answer?
Right.
To is love a choice?
So I think that love is one of those interesting things where it's kind of just like, it's not just only a choice, right? Or it's not all one thing, but I think that love absolutely is a choice. And my reasons are, I think that love in many cases is defined most accurately through action. And that if you love somebody, there is almost this concept in my mind that, how faith without works is dead. Love without some evidence of it doesn't really mean anything.
Right.
And so if you don't have any evidence, then what are we talking about? You can say you love somebody, but there's no evidence. Then it really doesn't mean anything. So, and I think that in order to have evidence, you have to choose to do so.
Now the evidence that you're saying, that you're speaking of, because this came up in a couple of other conversations, the evidence can be a tool for manipulation and control. So you don't love me if you don't buy me flowers. You don't love me if you don't have a dinner, my plate ready when I come home.
Right.
You don't love me. I know sis love you, right? She had the baby and she was tending to the baby, to your son, y'all's son. But in this context, I'm saying it this way specifically.
Right.
She's tending to your son. It's not a plate that I don't see a plate ready. And I'm not trying to be in y'all's business. I'm trying to build a picture.
Right.
What better way than to be transparent?
Right.
There is no doubt or second guessing in this house. And I'm here. I'm outside the house. I'm just a neutral party.
Right.
Loving both of y'all, right? In neutral. And I don't see any conflict or contention in the space because she didn't have your plate ready.
Right.
I've been here when both of y'all had the plate for each other and seen it. but it's not a barometer. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So I'm curious about that evidence thing. I definitely can see it, a bird's eye view, but I also can see it being a tool for manipulation.
Yeah, and
because we have contingent in implementing that or introducing that means now it's contingency based.
I would say that
you know
one of the evidences of love is that it is not manipulative.
Right. Now we're back to that. That's
Is
the so we're talking about love. We have to stay on that.
Exactly. And that so biblically based, right? God is love. One of the ways that we recognize that he loves us is probably the most famous scripture ever. You know, for God so loved the world that he gave. Evidence.
Giving. Yeah.
His only begotten son, that whosoever believes in him should not perish, you know, have
Pastor, you
life.
validating what my point though. This is a tag team, I think, boys. Watch this. That is the evidence biblically for God's love. And still, good God Almighty, in his giving of the Son, you crucified Christ again over and over and over and charge God to prove his love. Exactly. When he keeps showing it, and you still keep moving away and say, God, do it for man,
bro.
You right on mine.
See, but you right on mine because
on my page.
The evidence that God loves the world, according to the Bible, is that he gave us Jesus. There are people right now that will say, if God is love, then why doesn't he do it this way?
To your stand, this is what I'm saying. Exactly. So we're on the same page.
On the same page.
And so then you're in this relationship, and if you don't do it like this, it's not love.
Right. And that's when things can get a little weird, because obviously love has to be able to communicate its intention, right? And according to 1 Corinthians 13, there is this idea, this concept that love is always trying to seek the best for a particular individual. In order to do that, that doesn't necessarily mean that I give you everything that you want, or everything that you think that you want, or everything that you desire.
Right.
That would be on some levels irresponsible.
Let's read. Can we read a little bit of that? So for the people that's not, because this is Bible study,
yes, sir. Go to it.
We see you right there, T-Time, my guy.
Sir,
I need to talk to you real soon about a couple of things, brother. So hit me up. This is 1 Corinthians 13 that Pastor just referenced. Though I speak with the tongues of men and of angels and have not charity, I am becoming as a sounding brass or a tinkling cymbal. And though I have the gift of prophecy and understand all mysteries and all knowledge, and though I have all faith so that I can remove mountains and have not charity, I am nothing. And though I bestow all my goods to feed the poor, and though I give my body to be burned and have not charity, it profited me nothing. Now, I want you, this is what we tend to do. Charity and love are synonymous in this text. When Pastor referenced it, I don't want you to miss the point.
Right.
Hey, Apostle Baker, Bishop. All right. Charity suffereth long. Love suffers long and is kind. Can you be kind in your suffering? We can end it right there.
Yes, sir. 99.
Love envieth not. Love vaunteth not itself. It's not puffed up. Doth not behave itself unseemly. Sexy Red. A little boy asked me about Sexy Red, like, how did I feel about her being exposed? I said she was exposed more than she exposed herself.
Right. Come on now. Come on.
I didn't even know who she was. The girl with the red hair and the
right.
Yeah. The brown girl. Y'all know. I don't understand. Doth not behave itself. That's unseemly. That's what brought that to my mind. Unseemly. Seeketh not her own, is not easily provoked, thinketh no evil. I had to look at this, man, because I'm looking back over time and seeing how many times when I thought or said that I loved, but I was provoked.
Mm-hmm.
Did I truly not love?
Right.
out of the, I don't know, because this saying love is not easily provoked.
Right.
And it thinketh no evil. Rejoices not in iniquity, but rejoices in the truth. Bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, and endures all things. It never fails. Man, that love thing is powerful.
It's super powerful.
Oh man, they have a whole sermon in here. Okay,
All right,
Erica said a command, but you choose to obey. Aunt Ruth said, Erica, the Bible didn't say that. Erica says, true, Aunt Ruth, but yes, but just because the Bible tells us to love one another, it doesn't mean that we do.
Right.
Love is a feeling. You can, this is Deaconess Pamela Pontine. Love is a feeling. You can choose not to show or express it. Aunt Ruth said, even so, it's still a commandment.
Mm-hmm.
Ashley says, right, Pamela, if you choose to not to show your love, do you really love them? Erica said, that's a good question. Daryl Reed coming in, Deacon, late boom. Listen. So Pastor Joe here asked me, what was the response of someone who said that love was not a choice? And they rested their laurels on love at first sight and falling in love. Those two things. That's where they rested their coat. And I said, well, I disagree. And you all help me because I don't think there is a love at first sight. I think there is lust at first sight. I think there's like at first sight, or things that you have already had a precognition for that you love, this person has. And those are aesthetics, because you can't know a personality or a heart on sight. What say you?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah. So these things to me are colloquialisms at best.
At best. Yeah.
You could be highly attracted to somebody the first time you see them. You could literally be so attracted to that person that you want to spend the rest of your life with that person.
True.
And the second you talk to that person, or that person talks to you, that could change in 2 minutes.
That part.
Right. I'm certain that if you found out that person was an axe murderer, or was evil to children and old people, all of a sudden the beauty that you're attracted to is going to start to fade. Right. And so when we kind of in the West have this idea of love being this emotional feeling, it's a little bit different kind of than what we see. I would say even biblically, marriages in a lot of cases were arranged. You didn't know the person that you were getting married to.
Somebody just told me that. Yep.
So you couldn't have fallen in love because you don't know this person.
You don't even know them. So how you use that only when you was at the party and saw them? And,
right. Exactly.
Yeah,
so there's a level of like commitment, and it's interesting.
Which is a choice.
There it is. It's like, yeah. And it's interesting because you have to choose to stay committed to this particular person. And we do things a little different in the West.
We do.
Infatuation.
Is infatuation love? No. But let's look at the definition proper for that. It's a great question, Aunt Ruth. Now, dictionary says this of infatuation as a definition: an intense but short-lived passion or admiration for someone or something.
Right.
Love is not in the definition.
Right.
I'll read that again. Infatuation is an intense but short-lived or admiration, short-lived passion or admiration for someone or something. That's a great answer.
Yep.
To a great question.
Right.
So yeah, I already was saying, nah, it's not.
Right.
Yeah. Because it could change. I would say this, I would submit that love, just like this scripture was saying, the summation of all of this is that love is unconditional. And unfortunately, like Pastor was saying, we do things kind of different. We have been introduced to a different programming that says love has contingencies.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, again, if I don't buy you those flowers now, that's a barometer of my love.
Mm-hmm.
If I had some stuff going on over here and I forgot your birthday, now you don't love me because you forgot my birthday.
Mm-hmm.
What? You forgot the anniversary? Are you what? That's not so. It's close. I stay infatuated. We hear you, Aunt Ruth. You what you need to do is close that OnlyFans account you got.
Shut it down.
Shut it down. We love you. You didn't think we knew about that. All right, listen. I think that when people say that they fall in love, I liken that to the same thing when I gave those 2 points about what was told to me as I've been asking this question around that I had love at first sight. I saw them, I fell in love.
Mm-hmm.
And I say, no, you fell in like, or you had lust. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, attraction.
And then attraction or
right.
infatuation, as we're saying here, short-lived,
mm-hmm.
intense, passionate admiration. And to say that we fall in love would connote that that you can fall out of it. So it's still a choice. It goes back to the main thing. I will leave you with this, that you must choose the choice. And it's not a mystery. It's somewhat of a paradigm, but when you make the choice, you still cannot execute it. You still have the option, because you have cognition, to not do it. And you have volition, the power of choice. If love was not a choice, it would not be a reason for God to say, husbands, love your wives.
Yep.
Because you would just do it.
Yep.
The interesting thing is that wives don't have this command, this instruction. Wow. So dig that. Like, really consider that. It's a choice for you to do it or not. And once you make the choice, you still don't have to do it. Peter said, I'm not going to deny you. He made a choice to really uphold that. I'm not going to deny you. I'm going to be right there. I got you. I'm going to go with you.
Right.
Hey, man, I seen you with Jesus over there. No, it wasn't me. No, it wasn't me. Nephew, what's going on? It wasn't me. He made a choice to do it, right?
Right.
And then he didn't choose the choice. Man, I hope y'all catching that.
Yep.
Are we talking godly love or human love? Can you love without knowing the person? So now let's get into this. The different loves.
Mm-hmm.
Agape,
mm-hmm.
phileo, eros. So having the knowledge of the different loves,
mm-hmm.
right? The different types of love would stand to reason that we can have that love without knowing someone. So that's a yes to that question. Yes.
Absolutely.
Because we don't know everybody in the whole world. We're called to do that, just to love unconditionally. What say you, Pat?
Yeah, I think that if you think about it, when it comes to a parent-child connection, the hardcore reality is that you don't know your kid.
Man.
You will get to know them, and like we talk about all the time, hopefully you get to the place of transitioning from it strictly being parent-child to then it's parent-friend, right?
Correct.
But one of the things that I jokingly bring this up. I heard Bishop T.D. Jakes saying he was counseling some people that had a whole lot of money, and they had a child on the way, and the parents were like, we did all of this so that we could leave all of our money basically to this child. And Jakes was like, don't do that. Say, you don't know that joker yet. You don't know him. And if you go through and intentionally raise him, having left him everything, when you don't know him yet, you might be making a huge mistake because you don't ever know what he's going to come out to be.
Don't know.
Now,
you might try to get it before you expire.
Exactly. And you just never know. You know what I'm saying? So, but I guarantee you that at the end of the day, whether that parent or any parent knows that child or not, there was an element of love there that just is natural. God gives it to us. It's not really something that's like super emotional. It is, I'm going to try to nurture you. I'm going to take care of you. I'm going to do everything in my power to help you become the best version of you. And I don't have to know you in order to do that. I don't have to know your personality. I never even have to have seen you before. But just of the function that you are essentially a part of me or connected to me, there is something about that that's going to compel me to love you in a particular place, in a particular way.
That's what, so Robert Floyd is saying, but what does being a virtuous woman have to do with a man loving a woman? What does being a virtuous woman? Erica said love is intentional.
Choice.
And yeah. And Ruth Williams said, ain't the Holy Ghost love? And then Robert Floyd. And then Clem the Jim, it's a whole conversation going on. 51 years left. 51 years, isn't that love with the same person? Nah, you just with them.
Could be lazy.
I made a post that said, the family you create is more important than the family you came from.
Yep.
And you can be with your family for them 51 years and not love them and not them be your family that you feel comfortable with, safe with. That's not a sanctuary there. There's no bond. And then somebody you met at school or at church, work, and you befriend them, you all become friends, and they are more your family than your blood relative.
Yep.
That's the truth.
Yep.
You got some family that you wouldn't take across the street.
Yep.
You wouldn't leave them at home with your wife, with your children. You wouldn't do, and they're your family, your blood.
Yep. Exactly.
And you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Some people got a few of them. Right. See? So don't twit people business out there.
Yep. It's the truth.
It is.
It's the truth. I wanted to jump on the Bobby question.
All right. Oh yeah. I'm gonna get to that. You go ahead.
Right, because I think that when
I have one word for it.
You do?
Yeah.
Go ahead and say it.
Lovable. She has to be lovable. That's her job. We have to love her. Her job is to be lovable, not cantankerous. Don't be a monkey. You're not lovable. Virtuous, and I'm saying it kind of in a humorous way, but all of that embodied down to one thing: lovable. The reflection of the Most High.
The virtuous woman, the Proverbs 31 woman, is a high standard. And we always, go to them scriptures on Women's Day, but nobody really exegetes like this chick is a boss.
That part.
She's a next level woman.
Yeah.
And that's the standard of virtuous, right? So I guess he's marrying that particular passage to essentially the commands, instructions from Paul to men.
Right.
And it's very interesting because
in the that's the Ephesians.
Right. We go to the Ephesians passage, husbands love your wives. But the one that really messed me up, I believe, is in Corinthians when he says, husbands love your wives and be not bitter. That's the one. And I'm gonna tell you why. And I have a lovely wife, and she has to listen to this.
Be lovable.
The reality is that Paul was foreseeing that sometimes that human with the estrogen is going to get on your nerves and put you in a position whereby loving her will make you bitter. But you have to make the choice. Choice God not almighty. To tap into that.
God
See, we hit the Ephesians one. We don't really hit that one too much.
You're right.
Because that is a harrowing reality that you're commanded to love, as Ruth says, and do so without bitterness.
It goes together.
It does.
Everybody don't want all the thing though. They want to put, you know what I mean?
That's what I said to start
you want the desires of your heart, but you ain't delighting yourself in the Lord.
Exactly.
It's a whole other A portion. Like, what are you doing?
Exactly.
So no. You got to get the whole thing.
Exactly.
This is a good conversation, ain't it?
It's on fire. The chat is on fire.
Yeah, it is.
Wish y'all was here with us.
Right. Is that a choice you just spoke of, love from the beginning of birth? Is it what you teach, but you show what you show, or what you do not teach? True, that's spot on.
I think it's absolutely a choice because there are some parents that don't love their children. It seems like it should be innate, but everybody's not like that.
Man, the husband, the dude, I knew this young lady, Shanita, in Newport News, that they can't find her body. He found her purse and everything in the garbage. The man was at the airport, getting ready to leave and go to Jamaica. The husband,
right?
He married her. She was like 17. He like 15 years older than her.
Right.
They got kids, right? How do you love your kids and kill their mother?
Right.
How is that possible?
Right.
And you say you love your kids.
Right.
You took their mom from some old foolishness that was on you. Right. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So now you can definitely not love your children. That came from you.
That happened recently?
Yes.
I know some of them people.
Yeah. Me too. So not good situation, bro.
Yeah.
And he won't tell them where the body is.
Yep.
And so I'm saying, do that for your children.
Right.
So for their closure. Not even for you. It don't even for them.
Yep.
Man.
Yep.
That joint just crazy.
Yep.
Just crazy. I can't take it. It's a whole situation, brother.
And I'm gonna say that I'm gonna kind of double down on this idea of love being a choice.
Okay.
Because the Bible kind of talks about this understanding of you having evidence.
Oh my.
And that how can you love a God that you haven't seen, but you don't love your brother that you do see.
And every day.
I go back to American chattel slavery and how Christianity gets such a bad rap because so-called Christians used pieces of the Bible to justifiably be unloving and rationalized it because they were hateful, unloving people under the guise that they have real love for God. I'm arguing that they were never Christians, that they were the antithesis of what Jesus Christ stood for. And if they had love for the people that did not look like them, then they would understand the responsibility that comes along with love. And that's why I say, like, all the time right now, it incenses me. And I know we say it because we're trying to communicate certain things, but we say things like the black church, the white church, right? Church doesn't have a color, doesn't have a race attached to it. The church is an establishment by Jesus, right? And there are things that happen in the world when the white church is silent. When if they are showing love, they should be on the front lines of coming against some of this stuff and not waiting for us to speak out. They should be speaking out because, like Martin Luther King Jr. says, injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere.
Remind me to send you this thing, but I just say, hey, send me the thing, the horse thing.
All right,
I remember. I had a conversation with a couple of colleagues who are non-melanated, and the conversation went to education and reparations. And I referenced and part of it was also about love. It's interesting. And I said that I made a post recently that the same people that told you communism wasn't good told you that slavery was, and that God did it.
Right.
And one of them, it was a man and a woman. The man said, he finished my statement because he saw it. I said, oh man, you've been trolling my page. You've been looking at it. He said, oh yeah, but I said, why didn't you comment? If you're looking, say something.
Right.
No, I don't want to get in. This is a direct test to what you're saying. Assessment. I don't want to get in because I don't know what to say or how to. I said, if you have an opinion, particularly of the truth, then express that.
Right.
The whole thing is about truth,
Right.
regardless of you having melanin or not.
Right.
What's the truth of the matter?
Yep.
And then get to that. And the conversation went to about having the guilt of the past right now.
Mm-hmm.
So I encourage them to not have the guilt of truth, because truth is what it is.
Right.
Unless you are guilty, then you don't have to wear the guilt of a truth.
Exactly.
However, you should make it your business, because of your current situation and status and the limited education that you have received, to educate yourself outside of this narrow scope that you have.
Yep.
And then position yourself to make a difference, the difference that you claim to want and to uphold, work towards it.
Absolutely.
You know,
no, 1,000%, man. You're 1,000% right.
Ooh,
You're 1,000% right. And I feel like we there's guilt because there isn't any action and no evidence. And like
make a choice, make a different choice,
bro,
man.
Make different, like Erica said, love is intentional. It's intentional. I know some of this stuff is fresh in my mind because I got to teach a Bible study tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the most famous people that we don't even know ever lived is a person called the Good Samaritan. I don't even think people understand how profound Jesus was, because from what we know, the story isn't. It's a fictional account. It's not something that historically happened. It may have, but he's telling a story,
like a parable
to get you to understand a point, a fable, if you will.
Right.
But he's telling a story to Jews about their sworn enemies, and
Hatfields and McCoys
for 2,000 years, essentially have labeled this guy that Jews hate, and he's been known through history because he was intentional about understanding that there's good in everybody, right? It would have been so easy for him to use a Jew.
Easy.
But he used a Samaritan on purpose.
Intentional.
That's race. That's called race relations, right? That's that stuff that we're talking about. That's reconciliation, right? That's what he was doing in that particular text. And too many times, man, I'm telling you, when stuff goes down, George Floyd, the Black Lives Matter movement picked up on something because there was a failure, in my opinion, of the church in responding.
Mm-hmm.
And so
we talked about that. Yeah.
Yes.
He talked about it all the time.
When Trayvon Martin dies and all these brothers these things are happening, there's silence from people that don't look like us. They don't love us and they don't love God. Mm-hmm. And so what happened was we had a void, an absence, a vacuum that was picked up by people that are really antithetical to a lot of things that we stand for, because there was silence. If we understood brotherhood, then we would have been saying, nah, man, that's that boy, that was a young boy. That's somebody's mom's child. Why are we looking at him as the suspect? Even if he was the suspect, should he be dead? No. This is just basic understanding of human life. And there's silence because there's a lack of evidentiary love.
I didn't anticipate it being all this, but it's good for me.
I didn't either. This just kind of came up.
It's great.
Because I got soapboxes that I stand on every now and then. Right. And we're talking about phileo, brotherly love, right? You can't just love somebody. I don't think you just love somebody in silence and see them suffering and never try to do something. Obviously, people make bad choices. That's something different. But if you see something happening, there's got to be a love there that constrains us, that compels us to acting on behalf of our brothers and sisters. If we have this love for God, you can't demonstrate love for God if you don't have love for me.
Woof. I wonder who would beg to differ on that. Anyone? Any takers? I want to ask one thing. What is this thing with love languages?
Okay.
Like everybody says that, oh, I got this. What's my love language? And people say you got 5 of them, you got 2 of the 5, or 1 of the 7, or what? How do you feel about that? Because I think love is love.
Yeah. I mean, we always
I think
doing
it's just
something.
another tool for division
Yeah. Yeah.
and contingencies and barometer.
Yeah. I think people.
If you don't race to this line, you don't love me.
Yeah. People. I think people express love differently, right? I think
Yes,
people express love in
I
different
agree.
ways. There are. I'm a third grade teacher, and uh, I have every year is different. And my last my previous year, last year, how do I say this right? I didn't have the brightest class, if you will. Um, However, I don't know that I was more have been more beloved by any collective of students than them. And when I say beloved, it is I can barely walk without just hugs and high fives and smiles. And these were not like the smartest kids, but there's this collective expression of they're huggers, they're touchers, they're that. The class that I'm in now is not the same way. I'm much more intelligent, but I don't I don't have they're not huggers, they're not touchers, they're not the same way. And people are just different. You know what I mean? Some people are touchy feely and they feel like that's how they show love. One of our janitors, she touches everybody. She, hey, how you doing? Like, you know what I'm saying? She one of them type, but she just is, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Other people, it's like, they're just different. Some people are, more expressive in their giving. Some people like to write love notes. Some people like text. Some people like emojis. You know what I'm saying? So I guess that's what everybody is saying when they're talking about love languages. I just think that there's just ways, different ways that people try to express, how they feel about other people. You know, uh, some people, are going to call you. Uh, some people are never going to call you. But then when you see them, it's just like y'all been talking for 20 years. It's just, it's different. But again, I think that this idea that if I have a specific love language and you don't communicate in my love language, your love is deficient.
I agree.
Yeah.
The end. That's all I was saying. Let's see, Kit Kat says, yes, I love hugs and flowers, but if you don't give those things, I wouldn't think that you didn't love me. Good job.
Exactly. Probably love Kit Kats too.
Right. Yeah. Because he or she may forget your birthday. That's why I've always said, man, don't put so much emphasis on things like that. It's so much bigger than that. I'm on this whole wave. So 2 things have been just swirling around. I don't know why. And the conversation has come up for different people. So I've had to give words of encouragement or things. It's been that and with time. And I've been very particular about that for quite some time, no pun intended. But I'm on this whole wave, man, of living a lifetime in every moment. And pastor is becoming one of the most fulfilling choices or experiences that I've ever had. I've had many, many experiences. And this right here, the past is something we don't have control over. It has happened. The future we don't have control over, and we're people of control. We like to feel or think we have control, which, sidebar, does not require faith. We kind of set faith aside because we want to be in control. That's another whole different teachment and sermon, preachment. But the future is not ours, but we are able to influence it, and we like to think we can influence it more than we ought. But we have some degree of influence over the future. So truly, what we all really truly have is the present, right? And once we can really embrace this concept, life is much more fuller because every moment as it passes becomes the past. And every next moment, watch this, becomes the present.
Mm-hmm.
And so often our focus is off because we're looking at the past,
Mm-hmm.
which is gone,
Mm-hmm.
or our eyes divert to the future, the possibilities or the maybes. And this is in our conversations. I'm admonishing you right now, you ma'am and you sir, to stop spending so much time on the perhaps and the maybes. They are a trick of the enemy and your mind. Maybe this and maybe that. Start and live in the space of what you know and build on that and keep that as a fundamental, a rudimentary foundational principle.
Mm-hmm.
This is what I know.
Mm-hmm.
Belief is the beginning or a seed to doubt. Well, I believe it, which means it may or may not. Good God. Even with the Most High, I know you're not going to like this, a lot of people, but you say, I believe God will. There's a difference in saying, I know that he will.
Yep.
You agree, Master?
That's a huge difference. That's a huge difference.
So spend the time, in the moment. I believe that the Most High designed it so awesomely as he does. The Creator gave us the present and called it that because it is in fact a gift.
Mm-hmm.
Open your gift, live your full life in the space of every moment, and then you will be living your life fully in the space of all the moments. That's all. I've been on that whole wave, brother. What do you think?
No, I think it's a profound lesson, because that's kind of what we do. We do, I think, spend our present in two worlds,
in two different things. And a double-minded man is unstable in how many ways?
All of them.
So both of them.
All of them.
Yeah. And you've missed the present.
Yeah. Yep. All of them. It's profound because I think we're conditioned to do that. Looking towards the future, planning for the future, trying to exert some level of control over what happens.
Control is a terrible thing, brother.
Future.
Control.
Yeah, and again, very Jesus, take no thought. It's kind of it is what it is. It's gonna be what it's gonna be. Like,
man, what
God
you
got
can do is control you, right? Self-control, which is a full-time job. I say it all the time. Some people need to punch the clock twice, work overtime. A double, right? Yeah,
overtime.
Yeah, man. Yeah, work that graveyard shift in your own self so you can dig up them skeletons, get rid of them, huh? Them bones should not be living. Talk good, man. Punch that clock on the graveyard shift.
I love it.
It's true.
Yep.
The present is a gift. That's why it's called the present. Live in it.
Yep.
Experience it.
Yep.
Robert Florida says, is that silence the same silence of the church when they do not speak out about things that are wrong that come into the church, as long as they bring gold with them? If you have love in your heart, will it open your eyes to really see love? Man.
Yeah, I think
love in your heart. Yeah.
I think love, there is this, touchy-feely googobs up and down my doodads, up and down my spine type fluffiness of love, right? But there's also
storage, I think that's called. It's different love, storage, love, something like that.
Right. But there's also the reality that love is going to compel us to have discipline. Love is going to cause us to speak out when things are not right. And the church can't afford to be silent about things that they see are not right. I mean, people say it, but I don't think that we always are cognizant that when you're in the church, altar calls can really be matters of life and death. It's that serious.
But they don't take it that way.
Yeah. So if we are dealing with sin, if we're dealing with injustice, if we're dealing with poverty, if we're dealing
Depression,
with depression, whatever the subject matter is,
man,
the church has a responsibility, I believe, to try to demonstrate the love of Christ and ask ourselves, what would Jesus do? How would he deal with this? And he was so intentional about dealing with underserved, dealing with people that were broken, dealing with people that were in poverty, and causing those people who kind of have it to understand you have a responsibility to care
right,
for those that are less fortunate.
right.
If you do this to the least of these, then you've done it unto me. But the other side of that coin is when you ignore them, you ignore me, and I never knew you.
Wow,
So
wow,
this idea of
wow.
love
Yeah.
I think it's absolutely a choice.
So do I.
It just kind of
I started with that.
It seems like
I started with that. I think, I mean, it's so a choice. Now you just got to make the right one.
Yeah.
Aunt
right
Ruth
choice.
says, choose your choice. Aunt Ruth says you can predict your future. I don't agree, but tell me more of what you mean. I think you can influence it, like I said earlier. You can influence it because you have choice. But predict it, I think you're going into the area of prophecy, prophetically, and I think that's a specific gift that can be given or taken. You know what I mean? You can't predict it. It's just it's a 50-50. It's a whimsical to do that unless you have that gift. I think you can influence it or even manifest things.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
But to say that word predict is what I'm challenging. That. What say you, Pastor?
Yeah, I think that some people can predict certain aspects of the future. Obviously, I mean, if you're a prophet or if you're functioning
that's why I
under
say it, right.
the unction of the prophetic,
right? That part.
And you can enact certain disciplines and habits that make the future, things that you plan to
Somewhat
do.
predictable. Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
If you go to school, for 4 years, obviously, you don't necessarily know that you're going to make it to graduation, but you can kind of sort of predict that if you live, no health problems, you're going to graduate.
Right.
So you put in the time. If you make all A's, you can predict I'm gonna graduate, with a certain grade point average.
Right. That's good.
Yeah, I was watching an interview with the great Michael Jordan, and this was probably like midpoint in his career. And the guy was asking him, did you see this great life that you've created for yourself happening to you when you were a kid? And he was like, absolutely not. I could not have foreseen me becoming this guy.
Right.
He said, I always felt like I was special, and I knew that I was going to be special in sports. So I really didn't even know what sport I was going, but I was going to play something, baseball, football. And he said, I felt like this. I felt drawn to that, even as a kid or whatever. But nobody could have predicted this, right? Unless, obviously God gives somebody that, but you put the steps in. And I think that's, to me, that's even more special about life, that you can plan for things, you can have an unction for things, you can see things, but then when you get there, saying, "Nah, I don't think I could have predicted it to come out like this." That it's been even better than I thought. Hopefully for everybody, that when I get to this stage, that it's even better than I thought. I think that's awesome. It's the same thing you're saying. You're living the moments.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You're living the moments.
I looked up the word predict because I was on the when I went immediately to the no, I zeroed in on that word, and that word for me was I keep going back to this control thing where you're trying to call the numbers for the lottery and you're predicting it, and you're
Right.
but you can't possibly know what that is unless you had some inside help or
Right.
inside scoop or something,
Exactly.
like the stock market and
Right.
everything. So a prediction, you can predict. but it means nothing. It's not the same as a prophecy. It's a prediction. We're just saying probabilities, going back to that, the probability of this happening is likely or not likely because of these other things,
Right.
which is completely different than prophecy.
Right.
Prophecy is intentional and
Exactly.
and direct, right?
Exactly.
To predict means to say or estimate that a specific thing will happen in the future. To say, and you can say whatever you want to say, or estimate whatever you want to estimate. That's why. So I zeroed in on it in that way.
Right.
What happened in the future, or will be a consequence of something.
Right.
And that's, the example sentence they gave. It is too early to predict a result. I think that's a fantastic for what we're talking about. Because predictions are. That's why I use the word whimsical. Yep. You can say it has no merit.
Right. Yep.
So that's why I answered the way I did.
Yeah, I think she's saying that essentially kind of what we are saying, that the choices that you make in the present can help determine your outcome.
And that goes back to influence. I said that earlier. You can influence it by doing what you're supposed to do. Erica says, how do you love the unlovable? Well, let me give you this list first. Because this is what I was going to say earlier, and I think this can add some help with our answer. There's 7 types of love biblically, 7 types of love in the Bible. Excuse me. Eros, we all know, romantic love, right? So I won't even go into that definition, which even now means something different by people changing those definitions. Crazy. Philia, which is affectionate love. And they're giving this. I'm gonna read a little bit of this to give context. All love is affectionate in some manner, but philia love is one that does not involve any passion or sexual impulse. Philia. It is more like love between good friends or goodwill between you and someone you respect or admire. I can have that with Joe. I can have it with his wife. A man and a woman, just trying to give you a context from example, right?
Yep.
Philia. We see philia love. I think this is important just for a little more validity. Love between Jesus and his disciples. All right. Philia. Storge. This is what I was saying earlier. This is familiar love. Storge. Though storge can be confused with philia, which is love among friends, it has more to do with the love a family feels for one another. Joe loves me like a brother, but he has an actual brother that he loves differently, and he has sons that he loves different. I was thinking when La came in here, then that's a different love than he loves for me or for his natural brother.
Right.
So yeah, storge, familiar love. Pragma, which is enduring love. Pragma. If you've been married for a while, 51 years, you are probably well aware there comes a time when the honeymoon is over. The eros you both had, eros love, has settled into a nice storage. It's a nice storage philia mix, and life goes merrily along. But if you last long enough, eventually you have pragma, which is an enduring love. Pragma is where we get the English word pragmatic. It's a practical kind of love that stands the test of time. That's a great definition. All right, philautia, self-love or self-compassion. Though self-love can be unhealthy in nature, philautia love refers to healthy self-esteem. Dr. Neil Burton at Psychology Today describes self-esteem as the emotional appraisal of our own worth relative to that of others. It is the matrix through which we think, feel, and act, and reflects and determines our relation to ourselves, to others, and around the world. All right, philautia. That's Philautia, self-love. Ludus, Ludas, not Ludacris. Luda, if you have ever been in love, and this is playful love, if you've ever been in love, you have no doubt felt Ludus. It is the butterflies in your stomach that he was talking about earlier, the quickened heartbeat, the anxiety you feel when you're waiting for your love interest to walk through the door. It is the flirting and teasing and playing you do in the early stages of dating. The focus is usually more on fun rather than building a relationship. Ludus. All right, y'all got that? You with me? Erica, this is where we're resting at for your question a little bit. I'm just giving you some context by giving the others. Agape. This is part of what the part we're called to, we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
Agape, which is unconditional love. The question was, how do you love the unlovable? First, it's a matter of choice and perspective to seeing, because there comes when we say they're unlovable, that's really going into the area of judgment.
Right. Yeah.
We have conditions. They've gone against our conditions, so we don't love them anymore.
Right.
Agape is by far the most special, most respectful of all the Greek types of love. It is the kind Jesus refers to again and again throughout his ministry, and is the one all of the Christian faith encompasses. Agape is universal, unconditional, selfless love for others. It involves being altruistic and caring more for others than for yourself. Jesus perfectly exemplified agape love when he died on the cross to save us from sin and death. He suffered so we could be set free. All right. As Christians, we're called to have agape love for others, which is what Jesus is talking about in Matthew 22:37-39.
Yep.
Jesus said, you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your mind. This is the first and great commandment. And the second is like it. You shall love your neighbor as yourself, which is also the part of the Shema prayer. Lord our God is one.
Yep.
Man.
Israel.
Ain't that good?
Excellent.
So those are the loves.
Yep.
Hopefully it'll answer your question, Erica. Goes back to choice. Aunt Ruth says, can you have the Holy Ghost and not love? Great question. But let Pastor answer that. Hold on. Robert Floyd says, do true men of God really have choice? I think many actions we take are because we don't have true choices. Wow. I think you always have a choice. Yeah. Regardless of what it looks like in the immediacy of the situation. There's always a choice because there's always an escape, and you have cognition, right? And your superpower is volition. I say this all the time. Volition is your greatest gift given to you by the Creator, not Jesus. It's the power to choose Christ. So you can choose. You do have always a choice. And what I think makes it appear to not be having choices is what our perspective is, the limited, the finitude of our perspective. We can't see, or we only can see to a certain extent or a certain place, a certain percentage of it, and not have the bird's eye macro view of the whole thing. So we say, oh, there's no choice. We're limited, you know.
I think that maybe what you might be referring to is this idea of muscle memory, right? Discipline, and that you get to a place where it's habitual, where, you know, if God says something, you feel like you don't have a choice, or you're so used to doing it. But I think that just talked about it Sunday, that's familiar. Yeah, that even Jesus in the Garden of Gethsemane, who comes and says that my meat is to do the will of him that sent me, goes to he's praised 3 different times, 3 distinct times. Praise, goes checks on disciples, goes a little bit further, praise, right, goes back, and just comes to this place where it's like, I have to accept your will over my will, because I don't really want to do this, but I would rather choose what you want from me over what I want. So I think you always have a choice, just like you said, my dear brother. But sometimes it might not feel like it because you're so used to kind of doing something, but you always have a choice. Yeah. You always have a choice. This idea of, can you have the Holy Ghost and not love? So, I mean, the First Corinthians passage says though I speak with tongues of men, of angels, and all this stuff, and have not love,
Means nothing.
it means nothing. So, I don't know. I don't see how you could have the spirit of the living God working and living in you, and then not love.
God is love. How can you have
I
it
don't
and
see how
not
that's
have it? It's
possible.
totally agree.
Yeah.
Erica says, but the level of agape love that Jesus demonstrated on the cross is different from the love I'd feel for that man who murdered his wife.
Absolutely.
I totally agree with you.
Absolutely.
And in our humanness, particularly as men, and you feel that as a woman,
Mhm.
I want to do something to him.
Yeah.
And I knew the girl. She was in my youth choir when I played at Gethsemane. You know what I mean? She was one of my progressive choir members. Gave her some solos, know her mama, know her family. She came from a rough situation and then grew up and was awesome and beautiful, get a job, got kids, got married. Like, so I feel the type of way already. Don't love his actions, still call for unconditional love, because judgment is not, it rests outside of me. And I always jokingly say this. My name is Michael. Who is like God, Michael, right? He's in charge of exercising or executing God's judgment. So usually when I feel the type of way, I always align that with, okay, I got to move different because I'm going to be, he would let me go and do it. You know what I mean? So don't try to exercise wisdom. So I feel you on that, but that's why it's above my jurisdiction. It is above my thing. I got to just do this part. I don't like absolutely what the actions was. Hate it.
Yeah, Jesus was different and built different and literally lived differently. And part of what he did for us was relieved the burden of us having to do it like he did. See, at the end of the day, Jesus died for that guy. The guy that killed his wife, Jesus died for Hitler, Jesus died for Mussolini, Jesus died for the Klan, Jesus died for you, me, right? And the only way that we can kind of rationalize certain things is the holiness of God is so far away from the best of us that we're much closer to the guy that murdered his wife than God himself, right? We're much closer to the guy that murdered his wife than to God himself. That's where we are. Like, we're here. We're all here. And God is like in Newport News somewhere, right? So you got the axe murderer that's like here, but then you got you and me that's like here. It's all the same, okay? When in comparison to the holiness, the righteousness, the power, the purity of God. So when Jesus dies, not just for me and you, but for him, it essentially eradicates the need or the burden or the idea that we can do that. We can't. We have no shot at trying to do what he did. And he did it for all of us. So, and that's why essentially we don't have really the right to judge to a point or whatever. Which is a whole nother conversation, whole nother TNT judgment thing, whole
Right.
nother TNT.
We should that's going we're gonna get on that.
Right. So, and I think that the reality is that you're not required really to give your life for this guy. You know,
Right.
that was the assignment that Jesus had, and we're grateful that he did, because that allows us all the right to be redeemed. But yeah, that's a tough one, man. I mean, what do you do? What do you do with that person? You gotta let God deal with them.
I think that some of the things that happen can be
Yes, sir, Pastor.
thwarted because if we were to have a different teachings, different programming, different teachings, and different consequences. I was referring recently those two non-melanated people I was talking to about, we were talking about love and how in these Muslim countries, I think we talked about it before, I could go into their house and they not have to ask me what I'm here for. Mm-hmm. And I could stay for 3 days. Mm-hmm. And they feed me, house me for 3 days before they are allowed to even ask what my business is. And there's no threat of wife coveting. There's no threat of stealing.
Right.
Because the consequence is,
yeah.
Right?
Yep.
So you're not going to do that. You know, if you stole something, you cut your hand off. Now you're easily identifiable on when you're on the boulevard because he got one hand.
Oh, we know who he is.
Here, we've become very lax in our in those things. Yep. And we have opinions, like Eric was saying, but I feel the type of way. I love that transparency, and I love that you were opening this up. That's amazing because I feel the same way. I don't want you to be around you. I don't want to do something to you, right? But I think Joe stated it so well about it being out of our capacity, really. You know, I really do. Really do.
Yep.
Oh, he said much closer. I see you over there, Pastor.
Yeah, Pastor's on it, man.
He's on it.
The cross calls us to an intersection of both justice and mercy. It does. It does.
That's good. We definitely should talk about judgment. Definitely.
We should. It's a great one. It's a great topic.
I will leave you with this. Speaking about love in regards to judgment, judgment is separate. I was just talking to Pastor about that. He loves his wife, and this should be a part of that conversation when we have it about this one flesh.
Yeah, man.
Actually, it will be judged separate from Joe. And Joe will be judged separate from his wife. I need y'all to get that. They are together. She got his last name. They got children together, a house together, bank accounts together. Judgment, separate. What say you, Pastor?
Man, look, we resting our case on that.
That love thing, man. Yeah.
Read Acts. Read the book of Acts. It can help you out. The story of Ananias and Sapphira.
And you want to do it because why? They're going back to that barometer, like, oh, if you love me, you'll do this. What God said. No, exactly. I can't do it, bro. I can't do it, sis. I can't do it.
Yep.
No.
Yes, sir.
Thanks for not isogeting. That's what Aunt Ruth said. Erica said, that's good.
That's good.
It is good.
Well, y'all have been fantastic tonight.
Great Bible study. Great word. Yes. We love you guys.
Yep.
If you have any more comments, we still love to hear them.
Yep.
Hit us up and like and share. Like and share this video. Like it and share it. And subscribe if you haven't. Those of you that are just kind of trolling and watching, you can only chat with us if you subscribe. I think that's fair. Yeah. Right?
Hit the button, get the chat.
Get the chat. Hit the button.
Just a button hit.
Yeah, man. You got to be subscribed for at least 5 minutes. You can't just hit it and quit. Like, nah, man. You got to commit. The thing.
There it is.
Show some love.
Show some love. Show some hearts. Thank you. Hearts time.
Michael said, yes, he really good dialogue. Thank you, baby girl.
Fantastic.
Yeah, man. Love. Fantastic. Is love a choice? I'm saying yes. Yes.
I'm going with a yes.
What I would tell you to not do is not make it have contingencies. So often we set down relationship to pick up, we set down friendship to pick up relationship. And I think that we are in grave error when we do that. You're my friend and we cool. We're going to make a decision to go over here and have relationship now. And we don't have any more friendship. And now we have contingencies and barometers in our relationship when it's unconditional. It says that there is no greater love than that of a man who lays down his life for not his wife, child, grandmama, mama, daddy, for a friend. Yes, that is the greatest love. Now go and find your friends and love on them, but also find your loved one, your significant other, if you will, whatever that means to you, and see, are y'all friends? My God.
There it is.
Probably shouldn't be together if you ain't friends. Got to be friendly. All right. I love you guys.
All right. We love y'all. Boom.
Peace. Y'all boom it out. All right.
Boom.
Boom.
It's a love explosion.
It is. Love overboard.